Okay, this is Truck Driver Mike coming back at you again from inside the truck. I got to talking to a fellow driver last week, and he was saying, you know, all of the problems that the trucking industry has, because we kind of talk about some of those things, that there is one positive aspect that is really kind of prominent, that really sticks out. One prevalent, prominent good thing about the trucking industry, and that is wherever you go, wherever you look, whatever time of the year or time of the month, there is always a job available. In the trucking industry, you can always get a job. And I can't disagree with that. It's true. That is the silver lining, if you will, in the huge truck driver shortage in the trucking industry. There is such a huge shortage of good quality truck drivers that it doesn't matter where you go in the United States or Canada, any town, any city, any state, anywhere across the country, there is always a job available for a good truck driver. Anywhere, any time of year. Bumpy road. Jobs available for good truck drivers. And I have to attest to that. I mean, there have been times, there was one job that I wasn't really fired, but the boss didn't want to put me to work. So I literally drove down the street to another trucking company and was working that afternoon. Now, the regulations kind of prohibit that. There's the background screening and drug testing and all that sort of stuff. That all has to get done now with the new regulations. But I mean, literally, within 2 days, I can be working anywhere. And that absolutely is a positive in the trucking industry. All the things that I've been complaining about and whining about, the one good thing is there is a job available. If you want to work, there is a job available for you in the trucking industry. Let me make this perfectly clear. You want to work? There's a job in the trucking industry. I think the pay sucks, but again, I mean, put it into perspective with other skilled trades. There's my people net squawking at me again. Put it into perspective with other trades. We can make the same annual salary as a good skilled tradesman. We have to put in more hours to get there, but with the truck driver shortage and the way the trucking industry works, you can work 50, 60, 70 hours a week. Every week. If you want to work that hard, if you want to make a few extra bucks, if you're a young family and you need to kind of, you know, get ahead a little bit or at least keep from getting behind, you can do it in the trucking industry. There is a job there. There's always work. And they'll work you. The trucking companies will all work you. There was a time I was trying to find part-time truck driving job. Part-time. I'm thinking, 30 hours a week or less. And it was nearly impossible to find a trucking company that would only work me 30 hours. To them, that's only 3 days out of the 5 or 6 that are available. Cop coming, turn the light off, hold on. State police. And I got to tell you, a state trooper just passed me. And it's been my experience, my personal experience, that a huge percentage, 95%, 98% of all the state troopers that I've ever interfaced with have all been pretty decent people. If I've done something to break the rules or I wasn't doing something quite right, they were always cordial about it. They were never in my face. I've gotten a couple of tickets over the years, but it's never been something I didn't deserve. And they've always been, you know, cordial and polite and straightforward. If I don't jerk them around, they don't jerk me around. That just seems to be the way it is, and I got to commend them. I really am glad that you know, state police, for all the states I've ever been in, for every single state I've been in, the state troopers, the DOT police, they've always been pretty decent. There was one time there was a, you know, younger kind of rookie green behind the ear kind of fellow, and he was a little excited. He kind of wanted to show, you know, that he was the tough guy and that stuff, and it didn't work out well for me, but it wasn't the worst. I mean, the guy wasn't being outrageously stupid. I just thought he was a little over the top with how bossy he wanted to come across. But other than that, all of the other state cops, all the DOT cops, Waymasters, all of those people have all been really good. If you treat them with the respect that they actually deserve, you'll get treated with that respect right back. So there it is. You want a job in the trucking industry? There's always one available. You want to, you know, talk about the police interaction with truck drivers? Pretty much, basically, it's never been a bad scenario. The police are out there to do their job. I'm here to do my job. And we get along. As long as I don't go out there and do something stupid or, you know, speeding or cutting cars off and doing all that other kind of stuff, they're not going to mess with me. They know I'm a professional out here trying to get a job done, and if I follow the rules that the government gives me, then there's no reason we can't get along. And that's been my experience. I do get along. I think the state troopers are doing a good job. I think they're doing a fantastic job. I don't like the idea that my profession is conducive to getting fines and penalties that take money away from me for making mistakes. Because I don't really know of any other profession that does that. And the fact that the average truck driver only makes about 15 or 16 bucks an hour, averages about 15 or 16 bucks an hour, we don't make enough money to be paying fines. And of course, you know, government officials will say, well, don't make mistakes, don't speed, don't do all that other stuff, and you'll be just fine. What they don't get is we still have a job to do. We still have to get the freight delivered. Our boss is paid, the company we work for gets paid to make sure we get the freight delivered. And we can't sit out here driving 2 or 3 miles an hour and going stupidly slow like this guy who's in front of me. We're on an interstate highway and he's doing 45 miles an hour. There's no shit. There's nobody in front of him. It's just like he can't figure out that he's on an expressway. He should be going faster. He's not anywhere near the speed limit. Now the cars around him are slowing down. This is stupid. This kind of crap I hate. People out here that have no idea what they're doing out on the highway. They have no business being out here. They're not properly trained, which is the reason they don't know what they're doing. But the government can't see fit to make sure, you know, civilian drivers are properly trained. So they get after the trucking industry. Let's crack down on the trucking industry. There's some big, dangerous trucks out there. We're not big, dangerous trucks. The danger are the four-wheeler people, automotive people driving cars that aren't trained. They don't know how to behave in and around a truck. But, again, if you want a job, you can get into trucking. Absolutely can get into trucking. Wow, several state troopers right there. Might have been able to see them out the side windows I went past. That's all right. cruising through downtown Chicago. Right through downtown at 1 o'clock in the morning. I worked the night shift. You can see that I'm moving right along. I'm doing all right. I'm doing about 52 miles an hour, which is actually good enough. Cruising along. That's why I don't mind running Chicago at night. Yes, there's traffic out here. Yes, there's a little bit of construction. It slows me down a little bit, but it's not a big deterrent. It's not really a problem. Now, see, like for me, I don't really mind driving in the big city. I don't have a problem driving in Chicago. I've been in Chicago smack in the middle of rush hour when we're doing, 7, 8 miles an hour. It gets tiresome now and again, but it's not really a problem. To me, it's just part of the job. If I want to drive a truck, I got to drive where the freight goes. I don't really care where the boss sends me. As long as I can make a decent wage at it and I'm not asked to do stuff that's ridiculously stupid. I've worked for, there goes the state trooper. I've worked for companies in the past that would say, you got to get this freight, to the customer by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's 15 hours from now, and it's a 23-hour drive. Under normal conditions, it'd take me 23 hours, and they want it there in 15 hours. It's ridiculous for the boss to even ask that, but they do. Not so much anymore. But that's part of the reason we're so highly regulated. Trucking companies were really pushing to get the trucks rolling faster and faster and more hours a day, because that's how trucking companies make money. When the truck is rolling, when it's making a delivery, that's how it makes money. So they would push for the trucks to roll all the time, constantly. Tired drivers, fatigued, working too many hours. So much so that the federal government actually had to put a limit on it, 70 hours in an 8-day week. You reach 70 hours in an 8-day period, you are required to shut it down, not drive, not do anything in the trucking industry for 34 hours, basically a day and a half. You're required to take a day and a half off. They refer to that as the 34-hour reset. Start your 70-hour clock all over again. So some of those regulations I don't consider to be detrimental. I can see how they came about. I kind of like less regulation, but if industry is going to force conditions that require unsafe driving and unsafe work habits, then, gosh doggy, I appreciate the government stepping in to kind of help protect me and the rest of, our American public. There's that state trooper pulled the car over. Must have been doing something wrong. Like I say, the state troopers, I have not really had a problem with them. Okay, I can go around this guy. He saw that cop pull somebody over, so now they're going to do 47, 48 miles an hour. Slower than the speed limit. They can't figure it out. Unbelievable. So here it is, truck driver Mike, driving through downtown Chicago, 1 o'clock in the morning, telling you that there are some good things in the trucking industry. If you want to work, there's work available. There's lots of work available. There's a shortage of good quality truck drivers. You want to go anywhere in the United States, you can get a job driving truck or forklift loading trailers and stuff. There's always work in the trucking industry. There is always work. So, if you're going to sit back at home and whine about you can't find a job, get into the trucking industry. They'll hire you. It's not that difficult. It's easier to get a job as a truck driver than it is an electrician or a plumber. I don't think it should be. I think the qualifications to be a truck driver should be just as stringent as it is for an electrician or a plumber. But they're not. So I don't want to hear any whining about, someone can't find a job. There's trucking companies out there that'll train you. If you've never even seen the inside of a truck, they'll take you from zero experience to fully trained, on-the-road truck driver. They'll train you because there's such a shortage of good drivers. Not a problem. There goes another state trooper. That's an unmarked car. He might be DOT. Alrighty, like I started to say, Truck Driver Mike, signing off. 1 o'clock in the morning. If you want a job, get a job in the trucking industry. If you have options, don't become a truck driver. Too many downside issues with the trucking, with the trucking industry, but that's my opinion. Alrighty, till next time, Truck Driver Mike saying,